everybody. Welcome to episode 8.5 of the CraftStash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. I'm here with my friend Kreyoli in a very professional setting of his living room.
Welcome to my dining room.
So I wanted to kind of come over and visit. We're on our way, like doing a road trip type of thing. But Kreyoli invited us to stay over his place because he wanted to paint my portrait and Greg's portrait.
Yes.
And that happened, and it was really fun. You actually sketched both me and Greg, and then you painted Greg.
Yes.
All right, there.
Yep. The painting is called Portrait of the Artist, Gregory Santos, which I just did about, 10, 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
It was fun.
We all cleaned up, slapped on some clothes. I've actually still got my pajamas on, but you can't tell.
It was great. It was great to do.
Yeah.
And behind me is the work that I normally do. I'm a non-objective painter. I do lots of abstraction, and so work like this is a departure for me because I don't do figures often. Like, my figures are really, really abstract. And this is pretty abstract too, but... And
we were talking about that as you were doing some of the sketches in terms of why you prefer abstract painting versus figurative painting.
Yeah. For painting the figure and getting a likeness, per se, in a face, you really have to pay very close attention to all the little nuances of a face and all the little idiosyncratic parts of the visage that you see. And it's a lot of work, and I would rather just be free and do whatever I want, like make green with purple or colors or anything. So that's why I prefer doing abstraction. And it's a world that there's infinite combinations to the colors and textures and shapes that you can put together. So I've been working on just non-objective art for the last 7 years.
So that last sentence is why you know that, how you know, like, we're good friends, because, okay, so Greg and Kreyoli went to school together. That's why, that's how I know Kreyoli.
That's cool.
But it's all about color and form and kind of just crazy things happening with shape and, like, perspective and proportion. So I wanted to kind of invite you on the podcast because I'm curious if you have any ideas or tips for people who don't paint or draw normally and are really trying to get into it without having to slog through the more formative aspects of painting and drawing.
You basically just, if you're a beginner or if you've done some drawing in the past, just try your best and don't stop really trying to create whatever it is that you're trying to. So like I've been painting since I was 7.
Yeah.
So I've had lots of times to see like me create horrible things, and I still create horrible things now, and I will always create horrible things. It's just part of the process of being an artist. So you just have to like keep at it. I would recommend maybe taking an informal class somewhere that's like very low pressure, or just hanging with some people that do it. Like I do it, and I run a school, and I can teach you myself.
I was just going to say, see, I was going to do a shameless plug for you, but you beat me to the punch, because if you happen to live in certain parts of Connecticut, people can find you and work with you, whether they are children, whether they're older or younger, because you have an art school.
I do have
and you've had an art school for how many years now?
It's been 6.
That's amazing.
I founded it 6 years ago.
Okay, and it's called the?
It's called the Adai, which is my last name, Adai Fine Art Academy. And I have been teaching like children, teenagers, adults. I have a special needs class. I teach the elderly at satellite classes there, where I bring art supplies to them and I show them the basics of drawing, and they tell me what they want to learn. I don't tell them what they should learn. So
then, I mean, I don't want to like give away trade secrets, but like if I come to you and this is my first class, intro to whatever you call it, intro to drawing, intro to painting, what kind of mindset are you putting me in terms of these are the materials that you should use, this is kind of what you should be doing or what you should watch out for, or these are the things to not get hung up on, that kind of stuff?
If you are first starting out, pencil and an eraser is really just the easiest thing to do. Like,
don't overthink it.
Yeah, like what I would have you do is some observational drawing. You would get some fruit or some vegetables or like even like a 2D picture and just work through what that looks like and how to translate what you see visually onto paper. And that process is tough to get through. It's tough to get through. People expect to sit down for a little while and like paint these beautiful things because of patience, and
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, and so am I. And you do that, and you're just gonna set yourself up for disappointment. So
definitely.
Have like low expectations of what you're gonna do, and high diligence and persistence.
Okay.
And that will lead to brilliance at some point.
Fair enough. And the same goes for some of the things that I'm doing with fiber arts and spinning. And I haven't showed you my spinning yet. I'll do that off camera. But
okay.
It's the same kind of thing, right? You have to kind of go in there with the very, very basics, just a spindle and some yarn. Mm-hmm. Go in there being willing to try anything and go with the materials, right? So go with the paper, go with your hand, go with the yarn, and keep at it, right? You have to, you can't expect to pick up a pencil and draw something amazing in half an hour. You really, I mean, you were telling me that you worked on this portrait that you're working on for someone for 5 hours, and I kind of swooned a little because I was like, oh my god, that's a long time.
Yeah, I had to. That's the only way to.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know like the first thing about knitting. I just see all the beautiful things that you create, but.
So Kreyoli's gonna do this portrait for me, and I'm gonna make him some fingerless hobo gloves.
Yeah, I want fingerless hobo gloves, the type that you'd stand around like an oil drum that is on fire to warm your hands on.
Can I make you a matching bindle to go with the fingers?
I have a bindle. Of course, like when I go vintage clothing shopping, they wrap up your whatever you buy in a bindle with the stick. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you walk out with your package of like.
Yeah, and the correct way is to put the sack of it on the shoulder, and you walk out with that there. But
awesome.
I'd love a bindle.
Cool.
And fingerless gloves.
Well, I'm gonna show a little bit of the footage of the sketching, and then we're gonna take.
C'est ça ma chance. Pas avoir peur. Pas du docteur. Avoir confiance. C'est ça la chance.
So that was the portrait session. Any last words of wisdom or where we can find you, or? Oh,
sure. I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You can go to KweijoAdae.com, and my name is spelled KWADWOADAE is my last name.com to see some of my abstract work. And if you go to my Facebook page, which is Kreyoli Adae Paintings, you can see this picture in detail of Mr. Gregory Santos and other like landscape pieces and abstract pieces and whatnot.
Awesome. Thank you, Kreyoli. And because I'm at Kreyoli's, I'm actually drinking something alcoholic. So,
cheers. Cheers.
All right, folks. See you next time. If you can't craft it,
Ça déhanche.
And these are crediting them, so it's going to be the intro. This is going to be like the outtakes. I'm going to start picking my nose and stuff. Yeah. You're the interview. You're not really on. Dude.
While it's still recording.